Last week on the Bitcoin Tarot podcast, Cosmic Conroy's Tarot predicted Bitcoin had dominion and will birth new growth. Meanwhile, Charting Chad's analysis suggested we'll break down from this channel before we reach the top once again. Then the price of Bitcoin basically did nothing all week, barely moved, then slowly it stayed still. Both contestants get a grade C, as both could still be true or false. Their GPAs are 2.3 and 2.9. Nothing has changed all week. Will the price ever change again, or is 6,500 just like the price now, forever? First up to read the cards, it's Cosmic Conroy! You are very welcome. You know, the price continues to introspect and to pause, and 2 weeks in a row the cards have said that after the pause will come growth. Will the cards continue to say that? We'll find out with our usual 4-card spread, the first card being the past, the second card representing the current moment, the third card represents the future, and the fourth card represents a reason for the timeline. So let's begin with the first card. The first card is the Ace of Discs. The discs represent money and aces represent newness and birth. So this card seems as though it's going to reflect the growth of a new money, maybe Bitcoin itself. Let's find out what the next card brings. This card, it represents the current moment in Bitcoin. And that card is the second discs. Change. Strangely, this card can mean balance just as easily as it can mean a change. It could mean two forces balanced against each other, like bulls and bears and bulls. But it can also signify that we are right now seeing a change, of course. So if we are, what would we be changing to? Let's find out what's going to happen in the future with our card representing the next 7 days in Bitcoin. And that card is the Seven of Swords. Truce. It signals more contemplation probably, and the bulls and bears finally getting it together and agreeing. This card might seem to indicate that the current pause will indeed continue into the next week. But why? What would cause that? Our final card represents the reason, and that card is the Queen of Cups. She's a mother figure, of course, and full of compassion and empathy, and she's often a reason for truces. And so, the meaning of the reading has become clear. Compassion and empathy have caused our new money project to change into bringing a truce between bulls and bears. This truce will likely last all week. That's it from me. Until next week, may the Bitcoin bless you. And now, representing the technical analysis crew, it's Charting Chad! Didn't even make it to the top of the channel. Pathetic Bitcoin. Are you going to be so boring next week? Let's have a look at the charts. Here on the weekly chart, we can see the price has been basically flat 3 or 4 weeks in a row, but it still is below the 50, which is below the 128, which is below the 200, so that's maximum bearish configuration. If we had some markup, we can see that we're inside this big descending triangle still, right slap bang in the middle between the top and bottom of it. So you might expect that would make us break down to the trend, but at this point, we might as well return to the 2016 trend just by staying even till March. Look more closely, looking at the daily candles, we can see the price has been constrained quite closely by the 50-day moving average for the last couple of weeks. Adding in a bit more markup there, we can see the price has been constrained between 6,300 and 6,800 basically all month long, and looks like it could easily continue to do so. We've got the 50-day moving average and the lower bound on that price, both of them basically horizontal, no reason Bitcoin's price needs to move at all. Looking closely at the hourly candles, we can see that the price has bounced quite strongly off that 6,300 level and has also been constrained quite strongly by the 50 and it's likely continue to be so. So we'll stay constrained between the 6,400 and the 50-day moving average probably all week, maybe until November when we hit the edge of the triangle. But when it does break, it'll break fast, so keep your stop losses tight and I'll see you next week.
The Bitcoin Tarot podcast needs your support to fund a longer format show. If you want more detail and perhaps some altcoins to be examined, send donations to any of these 4 addresses. Whichever coins have the most money when we hit the target will get a special side reading from both Chad and from Conroy. Remember, if you can't donate, you can always like and upvote and share our links to while away the hours until we once again ask the question: can the tarot beat technical analysis in next week's Bitcoin Tarot podcast?